Why does familiar pain feel safe? Have you ever wondered why people stay in jobs they hate, relationships that drain them, or lives that feel empty? It's a question that cuts deep into our psychology. Pain isn't always something we reject. In fact, some pain is chosen, not because we enjoy it, but because we recognize it. Familiar pain feels predictable, and to our brains, predictability feels safe. This is the real reason people stay long after they should have left. Change might promise relief, but it also brings a huge amount of uncertainty. And that uncertainty often feels more dangerous than the pain we already understand and know how to manage. This isn't a story about weakness. It's a story about survival instincts that, in our modern world, no longer serve us. Our brains are hardwired to value familiarity above almost anything else. Not happiness, not meaning, not even growth. Just familiarity, because familiarity reduces perceived risk. When pain becomes a familiar part of our lives, it becomes manageable. We learn its patterns, its limits, its boundaries. We know what it demands from us and what it doesn't. Unfamiliar relief, on the other hand, has no pattern, no guarantees, no clear cost. And our brain flags this as danger. This is why you hear people say, "At least I know what to expect." That feeling of expectation gives us a sense of control, even when the outcome is guaranteed suffering. Think about it this way. There was a woman who knew her life was painful. Not dramatically or violently, but in a quiet, draining way. Every day felt heavy, and every effort felt unrewarded. She told herself, "This is just how life is," not because it was true, but because believing it required less courage than facing the unknown. Small chances to change her path would appear, but each one carried a cloud of uncertainty. What if I fail? What if it's worse? What if I lose the little stability I have now? And so she stayed, not because she was weak, but because her pain had become a familiar old friend. This is why staying can feel so rational. Familiar pain offers certainty about suffering, disappointment, and limitation. But for many, that certainty feels safer than hope. Hope demands vulnerability. It opens the door to potential loss, regret, and self-blame. The mind often prefers a guaranteed, known pain over the possibility of uncertain relief. It's the reason people say, "I'll change when things get worse," as if pain has to become completely unbearable before it deserves our attention. This pattern isn't just personal. It's historical. Civilizations behave the same way. They tolerate inefficiency, corruption, and injustice as long as it's familiar. Early reform feels risky and destabilizing. So systems delay change, choosing known dysfunction over the uncertainty of reform. Empires don't fall because they ignore pain. They fall because they grow comfortable with it. The pain becomes routine, normalized, and explained away, until a sudden collapse forces a violent change. Over time, this pain can become tied to our very identity. We don't just live with it, we organize our entire lives around it. Removing that pain would require rebuilding our sense of self, new habits, new beliefs, new risks. And our identity resists that kind of reconstruction. We start to confuse our tolerance for pain with strength. But tolerance is not resilience. It's just endurance without direction. True strength isn't about surviving pain. It's about recognizing when survival has become a form of self-destruction. Leaving familiar pain also forces us to admit that we stayed too long. And that realization can sometimes hurt more than the pain itself. So we delay, not just to avoid change, but to avoid regret. The safety of the known is a powerful illusion. But safety without growth is just another form of collapse. The most dangerous pain isn't the kind that screams at you. It's the kind that whispers, "This is normal." Because once pain feels normal, change feels unnecessary. And that is how people remain in places that slowly erase them, calling it stability, calling it loyalty, calling it life. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more.